Today, we're diving into Walmart, the biggest retailer on the planet, to see how a massive river of data helps them stay on top. And it's this wild story about cutting-edge tech, split-second decisions, and believe it or not, breakfast pastries. Okay, so let's start with a bit of a puzzle. What on earth could possibly connect a massive hurricane with a sugary frosted snack? Well, the answer is data, and it tells a pretty fascinating story about how Walmart can predict what we're going to do, sometimes before we even know ourselves. So way back in 2004, as analysts were prepping for a hurricane, they noticed something kind of weird in the sales data. I mean, sure, people were buying flashlights and batteries, that makes sense, but for some reason, sales of strawberry Pop-Tarts were going through the roof. It didn't really make any logical sense, but hey, the data doesn't lie. So they have this totally bizarre insight. What do they do with it? Well, years later, when another hurricane was closing in, Walmart actually did something that sounds a little crazy. They sent extra truckloads of strawberry Pop-Tarts to all the stores right in the storm's path. And what happened? They absolutely flew off the shelves. This is just a perfect real-world example of predictive analytics at work. Now, that Pop-Tart story is fantastic, right? But it's just one tiny drop in an absolute ocean of information. To really get why big data is so critical for Walmart, you have to wrap your head around their mind-boggling scale. First up, let's just talk about the people. Walmart has over 2 million employees all over the world. That's a workforce that's bigger than the entire population of some countries. Just managing that is a colossal task. Then, you've got their actual physical footprint. We're talking 20,000 stores scattered across 28 different countries. Can you just imagine the sheer logistical nightmare of trying to keep every single one of those stores stocked with all the right stuff at exactly the right time? And all of that activity, every single sale, every shipment, every employee clocking in, it generates an almost unimaginable amount of data. Get this, Walmart processes 2.5 petabytes of information every single hour. That's like millions of movies worth of data. So how on earth do you make sense of all that? Well, their answer was to build a kind of mission control, a high-tech nerve center designed to turn that flood of data into actual intelligence. They call it the Data Café. So, the Data Café is basically the brain of Walmart's entire data operation. It's located at their headquarters, and it pulls in over 200 different streams of data. And we're talking about everything from real-time sales at the cash register to weather patterns, economic news, and even what people are chattering about on social media. And the key is, it's all monitored right as it happens. And this quote from one of Walmart's own analysts really hits the nail on the head. In the retail world, speed is absolutely everything. Basically, if you have to wait a week or a month for a sales report, you've already lost the game. You're losing money that whole time. So that's the theory. But how does this whole thing actually play out day to day? Let's look at a couple real-world stories that show the Data Café in action. Okay, check this one out. The case of the missing cookies. So one Halloween, analysts at the cafe noticed something odd. A super popular novelty cookie is selling great everywhere, except for a few specific stores where sales are just zero. So boom, an automated alert gets sent out to the teams at those stores. Turns out, the cookies were just sitting in the stockroom. They were never even put on the shelves. Problem fixed right on the spot. Without that real-time system, who knows how long that mistake would have cost them sales? And it's not just about cookies. The cafe has been used to spot and fix a pricing error on a grocery item, which instantly turned its sales around. But they're also thinking bigger. They've launched projects like the Social Genome Project, which, wow, it analyzes public social media conversations to try and predict what we'll want to buy next. They even built their own search engine called Polaris, just to better understand what customers are really looking for on their website. So, what's the big takeaway here? What is the real bottom line impact of having a system that's built for pure speed? Okay, this is the really stunning part. Before the Data Café, identifying and solving a problem like those missing cookies would take 2 to 3 weeks. Now, with the Data Café, that entire process is crunched down to about 20 minutes. Think about that. That's not just an improvement, it's a complete revolution in how they operate. So the next time you walk into a supermarket and it just magically has exactly what you're looking for, even during a storm, it's probably not a coincidence. It's likely this massive, invisible web of data analysis working silently in the background. Which really leaves us with a final thought, right? How is this same invisible force of data shaping the stores you rely on every single day?